Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Live Your Yes Life podcast, where we share channeled thoughts, discussion, and interviews on what it takes to go from dreaming and wishing to actively living your yes life. And I am pleased to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Priscilla Harrison. I had the pleasure of getting to meet Priscilla 2 times recently. And after the second time I met her, I said, Priscilla, I have to have you on my podcast. I just have appreciated her energy, who she is in the world, what she's creating for herself. And I knew that you all getting to hear from her would be uplifting and inspiring. So let me tell you a little bit about Priscilla and then we'll dive into the interview. Priscilla is both a personal stylist and the operations director for a real estate team in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we're going to talk today about how her two paths really have woven themselves together and how she got here. So, hi, Priscilla. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay, so I'd love if we could actually uh, start with talking about what does your day-to-day look like now? Like you have these two worlds, two roles. So what does it look like to be life in the day of Priscilla?
Yeah, it definitely is a day-to-day thing. Everything I try to plan ahead quite a bit, but at the same time, there's pockets where I'm always changing and readjusting and pivoting day to day. Um, I try to stay ahead. So when it comes to being a personal stylist, right now I'm focusing heavily on evolving my services and creating content. And then on the flip side, with um, an operations director for the real estate team, I'm working on the back end with clients, scheduling, also content, and putting together events.
Amazing. What I love about you is it feels like that you have found a place to have some real harmony between that creative, expressionate, something that you and I were chatting about just like kind of came through you, found its way, and then also the organized, real like a left brain, right brain that you get to bring both parts of you.
For sure. Yeah, and I've always been a creative ever since I can remember, and I've always been very meticulous and operationally a thoughtful person. So, in my history of going into retail into retail management, I've dealt with the back end with the everything operations when it comes to running a business. But at the same time, and running a team and driving a team, but at the same time, I've kept that creative side going when it comes to whether it's decorating, styling, um, with colors, helping people with this jewelry through my um, retail career. And then in the real estate side, it's more so the creative side of content, how to make things look good for your general audience, um, being a really good coordinator and connector when it comes to getting different um, like businesses and business owners together to create events or just one goal.
One of the things that I noticed instantly about you, like within the first few minutes of meeting, well, first of all, it was your whole outfit. So, of course, you're a personal stylist because I was immediately drawn to you because your outfit was so great. I was like, I have to walk over and meet this woman who is dressed like this. And as soon as we started talking and you shared with me, and we were at a real estate event. So, it made sense to me that you were in the real estate world. And then you also shared with me that you were a personal stylist. And so I love that you have found a way to bring both parts of you to the table or to the party, if you will. And a conversation that I end up finding myself in with so many people is they really feel like it's all or nothing. And so many people, I think, are um, kind of trying to be on this balance beam between I have this thing that I'm passionate about that lights me up, that I know would bring me a lot of joy, that also can bring me income and is something that I would want to create, be that a business or a hobby or whatever it is. And they feel like they're balancing and I have this other maybe career or path that creates some stability and security and also uses my skills and talents. And I feel like you have found a way to have those two worlds really exist.
Yeah. So before I went off into my own with the personal stylist and into the real estate world, being in retail for since I think 2011, I didn't know what it is I wanted to do. I grew up with the very purposefully helping people. It was a big part of my family. Um, when it comes to even like with food pantries, my dad had homeless shelters. We always were raised to help the community. And so going into retail was more so just an easy, stable job to get into. And then it grew into seeing the inner workings of a business and being interested into that. And then that grew into wanting to help people and develop people and teach people. So at first, I wanted to get into HR, which is funny because before you're a manager, well, after you're a manager, you don't really want to do HR anymore. So once I got into management, I'm like, this is kind of like being in HR. Like, I don't want to do HR anymore. But I really found a passion, I would say, consistently in helping people at the time when it came to teaching product knowledge. And you have to have product knowledge to be a good in selling. And then the more I did that, the more when you become a manager, you're further away from the customer. And so I miss being close to the customer and helping with teaching them, outfit choices, styling, clothing, all that kind of stuff. So, well, I suppose one thing led to another, and me kind of coming back to that, but in my own way. Um, I definitely got off topic with that
That
answer,
was great.
but it,
So that was lovely. Thank you so much for I just wanted you to share a bit about your experience. Like I love this. And okay, I'm hearing so many beautiful things in your story that I have in conversation with people that they're often stuck in. And one of those things that I have a lot of conversations around is people feel like I don't know my purpose. I don't know what I'm really here to do. And before you and I hit record, you had shared with me that it wasn't like, from early on, your big dream was to be a personal stylist. But like you said here, you just knew that you really wanted to help people. And so what I just heard you share is following that thread then led you to this. And it seems like in that way, and I'd love for you to speak into this, that there wasn't really a pressure of, I have to find my purpose, I have to figure it out, but actually that you were allowing yourself to honor your passion of helping people and letting that path unfold for you as it did.
yeah, because at the time, ultimately, my goal was stability
Hmm.
and doing something that I
Yeah.
like. I'm not thinking of the big picture. I'm thinking more so of stability because with every retail job I had, I moved either up in the like from lower retail to higher retail, high end retail, or I moved up in positions into management until I opened up a store and ran that store. So my goal was just to grow. I think it was just to have stability and to grow, not so much the big picture of, what's my calling and all that. And when you're on that path, I think that opens up doors to things that you wouldn't have naturally considered because I never wanted to be a store manager, like at all. And I ended up being there. I think the turning point for me was that I have all the skills necessary to do this. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can do this. So let's do it. So when you're walking this path and growing, you're kind of preparing yourself for the next steps that you never considered before. So when those doors when those opportunities show up, you're kind of already there without even being super planful for it because it wasn't necessarily your end goal.
Yeah. I really want to highlight something that you said that I loved, which is your ability to reflect on yourself and say, wait a second, I have all these skills. That in and of itself is a skill that serves us so well to be able to be self-reflective and see ourselves in our greatness, in our ability, in what we have, instead of always thinking, it can't be me. I need to learn more. And not that we can't keep growing and keep learning. Of course we can, but to actually say, I have these skills. And so here is how I can use them, knowing that I really own them.
Yeah, and I think a big part, I was really fortunate to get into a couple retail brands that offered immense amount of training and support, and it really helped. I probably went through, I think, 2 or 3 leadership programs within these 2 different brands, and it really helped me see the bigger picture and see how to develop and grow myself and to not limit myself. And I think that too is something I've seen a lot, especially with people I hire. They're very insecure in areas that I'm like, what are you talking about? You're insecure about things you shouldn't be insecure about. And I think now it's so hard to get people to not only break out of your shell, but to really put yourself out there and not be comfortable, because being comfortable doesn't always is conducive to growth. And as a leader, you want people to grow. And I went through that myself for years because naturally I'm always more of an introverted person. And I had to go through all those growing pains when it came to developing myself for the next thing.
What a beautiful quote. Being comfortable is not conducive to growth. That Yeah, that's really great. Would you speak to the person listening who's feeling maybe like they're kind of floundering? They're like, yes, I also am looking for a sense of security and stability, and I want to feel happy. Maybe I don't know like a capital P purpose, but I want to feel purposeful. I don't want to just go to a job and clock in or like collect a paycheck because it provides income. So they just feel like they're floundering. And I think really what I'm seeing is that probably they're not trusting themselves, right? They're feeling like, I don't know what my gifts and talents are.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't have the luxury to lean into finding out what they're good at versus having a secure living. One of the consistent, I'd say, advices I got from people, so I've had interviews with executives and vice presidents of companies, and I like to ask questions just to see like what they will say and take these with me. It's no matter where you're at, it's so good to have someone to call a mentor because they can help guide and direct you from a non-biased perspective and to give you there's so much noise that I think people get distracted with when it comes to they hear do what makes you happy, you have to do this, you want to make this much before you're this old, however, whatever. And for me, I think I've had a couple mentors growing in my career that you don't really know they're mentors until you kind of like look back and like that was person really helped me navigate. And you're not always going to see what you need at the time. I think it's helpful and healthy to have someone to help you navigate, but for me, I think it was more so just maintaining, realistically, I need to secure a living, figure out what you're good at inside of that, and that's how I grew my skill set and figured out my passion. Once you're, you know, found something reliable, because even if you're working in something that's a service based business, whether you're good with people or not good with people, you're either in the front of the house or in the back of the house. What you like best, and if a manager can see that in you, if you're good with people, they'll put you in the front and develop that with you. if you're not, you'd rather be, you're quiet, you're more operational, put you in the back and grow your skills that way. So I think being where you're most beneficial and productive, naturally you'll grow your skill and find your passion inside of those areas. It's just it's hard to it's hard to say how to without, rationally thinking how to also live.
Yeah. Priscilla, you just gave so much gold. Like really, that was really supportive. Wow. Thank you for naming something that I know a lot of people are maybe thinking or it's subconsciously running in their head, which I don't know that I can quote you exactly, but you said something like, not everyone has the luxury of being able to lean in and explore what their gifts are and what they're good at because they're focused on making a living. And I really see how common that feels for people and is for people. And my friends and I were just joking recently, like, we just wish we could be like Renaissance women who just like create and craft and like hang out all day and like, oh, who's footing the bill? I don't know, someone who's not us. I'm like, that's not reality. Like, that is not how the world is set up for many of us right now. It's that we get to have something that is generating our income, and we have a wide audience of podcast listeners, and some are like really locked into their purpose and making a living from that, and we have a lot who are not, who are really in that place. I actually believe that probably 80% of our listeners, if I polled them and asked, do you feel like you have the luxury of being able to really lean and explore your gifts, or you focus on making a living, 80% would say, I'm really focused on making a living right now, or more. Like, it could even be 90 or 95. I would not be surprised at that. And so your tip that is seriously gold of find out what you're good at where you are. um, it just makes me think of some things that we say to our clients, which is like it before you leave it. So if you have a place that you currently are in, either a position at work, or even if you're an entrepreneur, like a project you're working on within your own company or a relationship or whatever it is, and you're just feeling like, I know it's time for me to grow and move on, and you're starting to get like resentful of like, oh, this spot doesn't work for me, this isn't the thing for me anymore. We say, like it before you leave it, meaning exactly what you just said. Find the gift in where you are so you can take that gift with you without just burning it all down. Do that work inside. And in that way, you can be where you are, take the stress and pressure off, it's like creating a little elbow room for you to explore, to find out your gifts and talents being where you are. That is a really tangible tip that everyone can use.
And I think too, having a takeaway, something positive and something that is part of your growth from every career choice, for every job choice, because there has to be there has to be something that you get out of everything that you can take with you. Back from the time when I was a teenager and I helped in multi broadcast media for 10 years for my church's TV program. I wanted to go into school to be a graphic design and all that, 'cause I was super into it. But then I'm like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. But that skill set that I had from back when I was 14 to 24, I kept that with me, even though I didn't really use it. Again, having that creative side going into my type of jobs, I was the person that would think outside the box, because no one, yes, you can be creative, but how can you use this piece towards an inventory event or doing, auditing or whatever? There's ways to do things better, because from your experience and whatever, no one has that like you do and can use and process things in a way to make things better. I guess for me, my growth and my process was using everything I've ever gained previously to my next thing. And I was always the one who was more innovative with thinking of how to solve problems, because I'm a big problem solver. And whether I'm solving other people's problems or I'm solving my own, I think it just kind of goes back to the old saying that it's all about solving problems for people when it comes to working in sales, having something that people need? Are you solving a problem? I think these thoughts and, I don't know, internal conversations while you're doing your job and to keep your mind focused and thinking of the next thing. I've definitely got off on a tangent, but I think that was like my mind process when it comes to going from the next thing to the next thing when you don't really know where you're going or what your end goal is. But everything has, I think, a piece that stays with you, and it's important to take that with you. Nothing is all bad when you're going through these different experiences.
Mm, more gold. Nothing is all bad. Yeah. What does success mean to you?
Um, a couple different ways. I think success in a way is doing something. Okay, so when it comes to being a stylist, I love it so much I'll do it for free. For me, that's success because I know what I love to do, and that passion and when I what I get back from that is rewarding. That is a way of success for me, knowing that I love something so much, I'll just do it for free. And then also, I think success is using not just my creative side, but using my operational side that is more kind of kept me centered and moving through my career to keep that part of my brain active and growing and to be able to help on a scale where I'm growing a team. I'm this type of, in real estate, this type of genre of business is a big moneymaker, and how my background and everything I've done, I'm use it to grow this team. And it's a win-win for all parties involved. And I think that right there gives me the stability that I need far as to have a living while I'm creatively pursuing my end goal, being a stylist, helping people, whether I'm getting paid for it or not. It's only been a year, so it's a growing process. So it's like two different definitions of success
Yeah,
for me.
which I really appreciate. And that's why I like to ask this question often, because I think it can be easy for us as just society in general to think that like success equals dollar signs, which just doesn't make sense to me because there's so many different definitions of success. And I really appreciate it. So, my last question for you is, so what's one like secret sauce you have for creating success in your life?
Secret sauce. So I'd say, using myself as an example, you kind of have to just go back and remember who you are. Remember who you are when you were 7, when you were 10. And so my favorite color is green. And for the longest, I always liked green, but I didn't know I liked green. When I look back on pictures when I was a kid, I had certain toys that were green. I wore certain colors that were green. I'm like, I don't even know why I did it, but that was just always inherently been kind of something I prefer, something I picked out for whatever reason. And I think in a way, I also remember when I was a store manager and I had, you know, people on my team, I think to really lead people and figure out what makes them tick is also knowing what inherently they just love. And you kind of have to take it back to things that you remembered. Why did that make you happy? Okay, so, you know, those things don't really change over time. You just get distracted with what you need to focus on as an adult, whether it's the type of lifestyle you want, and that kind of clouds those memories and those thoughts. So when you go back and you think about those things, I it may not always be the answer, but I think it will give some enlightenment on why that made you feel a type of way and what that meant to you at the time and how to maybe resurface that in your life. I think.
Yeah, that that's really powerful. That's really powerful. I love what you said about these things don't change. And so that remembering who you are instead of getting distracted and with the the needs of today to really come home to yourself and let that be what informs. So powerful. Thank you, Priscilla, for all of the gold that you shared today. Thank you for just sharing about your journey. I know that this is going to be relatable, helpful, inspiring. I'm so glad you're with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It was really fun talking. And, it's there's so much you can dive into from all different areas of just our topics and where it could lead to. So, yes, I'm happy that we covered a lot of it, branched out, but we cover a lot of it.
Yeah, it was so awesome. So, so grateful for you, Priscilla. Wait. Before you go, I want to be sure to share with you about our newest offer called the Yes Method that is coming to you soon. So, here's the thing. Lisa and I promised ourselves that we were not creating any new big offers this year because we love what we have and we couldn't help ourselves. You all have been asking for this exact kind of support. And so here we are answering the call. So the yes method is the way that you get what you want by being who you are. This is our support to help you fast track your unreasonable dreams with ease instead of force or hustling. Now, I've got to tell you, we are packaging some big support in the Yes Method container with a lot of group coaching opportunities. So, this is not just a course, this isn't just a thing where you plug into and get some information and learn. This is a container where you actively lean in to take on the inner work, which creates outer results in your life in real time while being deeply supported in an incredible group coaching container. Here's the thing, the investment on the Yes Method is significant because we know that the results that we're providing through this container are even more significant. So if you're interested in just joining us for the Yes Method, you can reach out and let me know. But I really think that there's actually a better way. We have decided to bonus the Yes Method to all of the clients in our membership community called The Circle. And The Circle is the place to be on the daily basis, my friends. The Circle is where you get consistent daily pocket coaching messages. We support you in planning your week. You get group coaching every week. We do quarterly deep dives, and you get 2 one-on-one power coaching sessions every month, all for the price of a venti latte per day. And now we also are bonusing the Yes Method into all of our Circle members. So if you have been thinking that it is time to A, get a coach, or B, get out of your way and bring your unreasonable dream to life now, it is time for us to explore what it would be like to have you join us inside of the Circle. You can fill out the application below to get more information. I will see you on the inside.